the moment that all three of you have been looking forward to. My videos on my Chevelle build. As it turns out, I have way too many videos for the first year. I was going to do 3 parts, but I'm going to actually do 4 total parts. The first 2 parts will be the first year of the build. Hope you enjoy it. Have fun with it. And don't forget, we don't make mistakes. We make custom modifications. Audit corrected. We don't make mistakes. We make custom modifications. Okay, we're going to get into these videos that I have. This is a beginning video. These are the pictures of when I first got it. Picked it up up near Columbus. It's pretty rough. It's a 72, but as you can see, it has 71 front end on it. And this, there's not many panels left except for the quarter panels and the roof of when I got the car. And you can see the interior, there's nothing there. I had the Malibu dash, but I didn't even use that. And of course, that bench seat I didn't use. I did recover the back seat, so I was able to save that. No engine, no transmission. The trunk didn't look that bad in this photo, but as you look at it a little closer, it was a little worse. And you'll see that picture later. There's Brandon helping me get it from Columbus and put it on the trailer, toted it back, and then we had to keep it. Actually, once we got it home, we had to keep it at a friend's house overnight because we had gotten pretty good snow the night before and that morning. And I live on a gravel road and it was icy and soupy, so we just decided to let it set at a friend's house overnight. And there it is, sitting at the friend's house. And then the next day, we got a tow truck, flatbed, to come down and get it and take it to the house. And got a couple pictures of that, unloading it in the driveway. And there it is coming off the flatbed. And that's the picture that I usually use as the beginning picture of my car. Okay, the next set of pictures is showing how bad the car is, how bad it was when I got it home. I started, taking it apart and taking the doors off of it, the fenders off of it. Those fenders look okay in these pictures, but when you got them off and got to looking underneath them, they weren't very good at all. There's the door. That's the bracket where the window regulator bolts in, and that's the corner, and they were really shot. So that's the trunk. Once I got all of it, they had a bunch of that spray foam in there. Once I got all that out, you could see daylight. And that's some of the holes in the floor. And the driver's side, I'm pretty sure. That's driver's side. Trunk lid off. And there's the front of the engine bay. And then I got this engine from a guy out of a motor home. It only had 18,000 miles on it. And it was a complete engine and transmission with all the brackets, and that's what I was looking for. Made it real easy to put it back together. I just had to take it apart, and you'll see the pictures upcoming. I cleaned it, painted it, changed all the gaskets, rear main seal, the oil pan gasket, every gasket on it, and got it looking pretty, shiny and orange. And there it is on the trailer when I got it back. Also, it had, as you saw in the first picture, it had one of those, on the end of it, it had the trans brake or the emergency brake for a camper. There it is sitting there. And I had to buy the adapter to put on the end to convert it to a regular transmission. And there it is on the engine stand. before I started taking it apart. Well, actually, it had already taken off a lot of off the front there in those pictures. And as you can see, there is, it was quite dirty. It wasn't really greasy or oily, but it was dirty. And of course, the later model engines had that Chevy blue collar. And that's the new part to the transmission that I got for the tail. There it is on the transmission. Yeah, and that worked out pretty good. That was only about $50. And there, I took a picture of all these brackets so I knew how to put them back on whenever I got to putting the thing back together. So that's what the pictures of the brackets for. Yeah, and here we go. More disassembly. You can see all the rust. Front bumper off. And driver's door off. That is a door I bought from a guy down in Huntington. It's off a 70 Chevelle. It was in pretty good shape, but I ended up not using it because it had a couple of issues. Ended up buying a couple of new doors, and you'll see that on the last video, on the paint body video. And that's all the stuff that I found inside the car from the cowl that fell down. Several spark plugs, a couple wrenches. And I even found a Slayer tape in it. I've got a picture of that somewhere in here a little later. There's the front end completely disassembled, all the body panels off of it. Motor mounts, you can see a little normal road dirt and grime and dust. And yeah, it's still disassembling. And there's the front radiator core support. And the rear, quite a bit of rust back there under the rear bumper. And the transmission, I went ahead and did a filter and a gasket change, and then I started prepping the engine for paint. As you can see here, I'd already, well, no, I hadn't put it together. I hadn't taken it apart yet. Let me take that back. In these pictures, I'm just protecting the insides. There we go. Now it's taken apart. Also got a picture. You can't quite see it in this video, but I got a picture deep down inside the cylinder, and it still had the hash marks from the cylinder walls. So it didn't have a whole lot of miles on it. There's a normal R45 tapered seat, spark plug for a Chevy engine, small block and big block, and there's the seal back together for the oil pan. There it is going back together. And then I started prepping for paint. And I had to do, the oil filter had the remote filter on it. So I had to buy I forget what they call that, but you can buy them at the auto parts store to convert it from like a remote or even the old metal style filter into the screw-on filter. And there's the engine, 3 coats of Chevy orange paint. Yep, started looking good then, and I put a new fuel pump on it, which I had to replace after I got it running because that didn't last long. That stock fuel pump didn't last long at all. And the headers I'd gotten from the same guy I got the engine from, they ended up not being able to use those because they didn't fit a Chevelle. They must have been for another car, I don't know. I didn't look it up. And there's a test fit on the new floor pan for the driver's side. And that took forever. Anybody that's ever done a floor pan, oh, you can see in there some more stuff that fell out in the cowl. Anybody that's ever done a floor pan, I'm telling you, it is really an advanced technique. And I'd try my best for my first floor pan. I tried to take my time. It got really frustrating at me, in several places. That's the kick panel there. You can see the damage there. It was pretty rusted out, and I did some repairs on that later on. But anybody's replaced a floor pan, it's not for the faint of heart. It's tough. It's tiresome. All of those on those two side frame supports there, they're all tack welded onto the floor pan, so I had to repeat that. Another picture of the engine, and there's the Slayer tape that I found in there. You can tell it's an old car when you pull out a Slayer tape, especially a cassette tape. If it had been an 8-track, it might have been a little cooler. But here we go, test fitting the pan. It's a lot of test fitting. It's setting it in, it's cutting some more out, it's setting it back in again, and then I had to prep the braces for welds, and I had to clean them all up. I used the combination of all kinds of stuff to get rid of the old floor pan. And that's just a picture of the heads that I had. And they're just stock, what they call peanut port heads for it. Like again, this engine came off of an RV and I didn't do anything to it. I just changed out the intake and all the gaskets and seals. That way I wouldn't have any problems with that. But it's a stock RV motor still to this day. And here we are in the floor pan again. There's my repairs on the front, that corner of the kick panel. I did a couple of test welds there. That's I use a flux cord. A lot of people don't like those. This is some parts I got from a guy who was parting out a 71. And even though mine's a 72, I got a pretty good deal on them, so I snagged them all up. And I did run the 71 front end for a few years, but when I did my final part of the build, I changed it over to 72. And there's a combination of my tack welds and my screws holding the floor pan in. And I started test fitting that new fender I got. Looked pretty good. And that's pretty much my floor pan completed, welded, ready for seam sealer. I'm not sure if I got any pictures of seam seal. I did have pictures of when I painted. Now this is the passenger side. It wasn't that bad. It was just down this side and down over under the feet. So I just did a patch there, and that went much smoother and much quicker than trying to replace the whole pan. And there's the cowls on the side of the cowls. You can see how bad they were. And there you can see where I treated that with Pour 15 before I put my patch in on the passenger side. And then, again, some more cowl repairs. They were pretty eat up. More cowl. I guess that's a lower cowl. And yep, there's the patch panel for the passenger side. Tacked in and screwed in, and then there's the Pour 15 around the seam sealer. I already put seam sealer on at that point. It was 3.5 years ago when I started this, so a little bit fuzzy. All right, so there it is, all painted up. Painted it with just some Rust-Oleum gloss black. It looked pretty good at that point, but you know, it got overspray here and there, and it got dirt and dust and you name it. But it was looking good then. So then I started test fitting pieces back on. That's where I was eating most nights whenever I was working out in the shop. And some pictures of, that's the original driver's door. It was in pretty bad shape. Again, it was, and I believe it to be the original door off the car, same as the passenger door. And you can see it's the car was painted red and some primer before I got it, but it was originally that I think it's called a Mulsanne blue. There it is. There's the blue color. You can see it on the inner fender there, or inner wheel well. And I had the patch underneath the rear seats because they were pretty bad. And that's Brandon helping me clean that front cross member. He helped me out quite a bit. I didn't get as many pictures. And that's Brandon's friend, Isaiah Host. He was helping me do some tack welding on the bottom of that door. This is the passenger door. You can tell it's not in great shape at all. And but he tacked it up, and we threw it back on there. And good to go. Now this time I still needed door hinges. I ended up replacing them later, and I replaced the doors later, and the front fenders and the fender extensions. You'll see that in later videos. There's the passenger door back on. Year one, I wanted to get the car together, get it safe, get all the patches done, get all the rust treated, and everything patched up, including the trunk and the fender wells. And that was my goal for year one, to get it, to get all that done, and then start working on putting the engine in. And I actually ended up driving it shortly into year two. I ended up actually driving it. I didn't drive it far. Had to get an exhaust on it. You can see the trunk pan. I did that on both sides. I think the other side will be in the next video on the passenger side. All right. Well, thanks for watching my video. That will be it for this episode, since I promised you no more than about 15 minutes, and we're coming close to that now. I appreciate you watching, and remember, we don't make mistakes, we make custom modifications.